Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. This is the final episode of the first season of our podcast, The 21st Century Schizoid Man. We interrupt you from this podcast to bring you this important message. This podcast is not for children. There's occasional use of explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
This beat was made by the 21st Century Schizoid Man. Now, enjoy the podcast.
You've been through quite the journey with us, and now, with our final episode, we take flight. You guys remember that little bit about the airport from the first episode? Well, here's the story.
So, a little bit of context. Neither myself nor Maf had ever been to Nigeria up to this point. This was going to be my first trip. I bought some tickets for me and my mom, and I was actually really looking forward to this trip. I think the timeline for this was maybe around August 2015. The only problem with all this anticipation leading up to this trip, Maf was starting to show serious signs of relapse. He was having trouble sleeping, and his behavior started to become more and more erratic. It started to come to a boil about a couple days before the trip, and it was getting progressively worse as the days went on. In the back of my head, I had a nagging feeling that this was going to be an issue. A lot of times, when you're on the support side of dealing with this, you worry, and you worry a lot. Sometimes too much. But back to the story. So I officially started my vacation. Yeah, because I'm a boring millennial and whatnot. And get to packing. The night before the trip, I've got a weird mix of emotions running through my head. Of course, I was excited to embark on this journey to finally get in touch with my roots, go back to the motherland. Being a little tongue-in-cheek here with the drums, but either way, I was really looking forward to going on that trip. But like I said before, I was extremely anxious just because we'd been down this road before. And historically, when he's had relapses like this, they've almost always led to something negative happening.
Just a heads up, folks. An airport is not where you want to be for a relapse. Maybe the dark passenger didn't get this memo. Either way, I remember the day beginning like any other normal day. Waking up and completing my morning routine as my mother prepared for the trip. I guess the passenger was eager for what it told me was our little taste of independence. Though my father would be staying home, he would work mornings. I guess this is where the passenger found excitement.
Go to your parents' room and ask if you can go to the airport with them.
I knock on the room door.
Come in.
I enter the room and ask what time they're leaving for the airport.
Around 11 a.m. Why do you ask?
I was wondering if I could go to the airport with you guys to say bye.
Lately, you've been acting strange. Will you be okay?
Say this exactly as I say it. No improv. Of course, I'm fine.
I respond, of course, I'm fine. Maybe the passenger wanted me to be as literal as possible by speaking its words verbatim. Either way, it was not going to let me mess this line up. I knew the passenger was up to something, but to what, I wasn't sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure so we don't have any problems later.
More than anything, I wanted to ensure my family that they could trust me in situations like this. I wanted to reclaim my life from the passenger and steal back my independence. Beautiful concept, I know. But with 2020 hindsight, it would be much harder than it sounded. I continued my morning routine, skipping the shower and brushing my teeth. When I finished, I went to my room and I fished a shirt and pant out of the hamper. I picked my favorite jeans and my Kanye graduation shirt out. I went to the kitchen looking for breakfast.
Look for some Tupperware and put some food into it.
And I opened the cabinet and reached in, searching for a bowl and a fitting lid. I chose a bowl that was the size of a 4-fisted square. Afterwards, I opened the fridge grabbed the rice, and filled the Tupperware with rice and some chicken.
Why don't you just eat the food right now instead of packing it away for the car ride?
Tell them that it's a long ride, and you don't feel like eating yet.
Lately, the passenger had wanted me to speak in its words with complete accuracy, so I said the line, "It's a long ride, and I don't feel like eating yet." At that moment, we heard a knock on the door and a jingling of keys at the house's side door. Only a few seconds later, my brother had opened the door.
Oh, hey, bawo ni.
He said this to everyone in the house, as it translated from Yoruba to English as, "How are you?" I responded, "Fine."
Are you ready to see the motherland?
Yeah, Dad, I'm ready. I mean, yes, Daddy, I am ready. Oh. I literally said that, yeah. Yeah, I literally said it just like that, yo.
Go to your room and put the food in your bag while no one is paying attention to you. Go.
I quietly leave the kitchen and place my Tupperware into the bag, making sure no one hears me. I put my bag in the corner of my room, behind my door. I begin to walk into the living room and overhear my family talking quietly.
So how is he?
He hasn't had proper sleep and he's been pacing around the house.
Maybe taking him to the airport with us is a bad decision. At this point, folks, we probably should have gone with my gut and let him stay home because we were about to be in for a long day.
As I enter the living room, they stop talking and look at me. I act as if I hadn't heard them.
Maf, are you okay?
I'm good. Why you guys so worried?
So you're not gonna go to the hospital while we're gone, right?
I nod and say right.
Go get your mother's luggage and load it into the car. I will help you.
I proceed into the room and grab the heaviest bag of the lot. I heave it up to my chest and carry it off into the car.
At this point, no one was wise to my scheme or control over Moff the Schizoid. So I operated under the guise of a loving family member, hoping to see his mother or brother off for their trip. 2 more hours lapsed, and then we all backed into the car, them with their luggage, and me with my backpack that I had hid behind the bedroom door.
Why did you bring a bag?
I want to work on my laptop on the way there.
Man, look. Back then, whenever you packed a bag, that almost always meant trouble. It usually meant that you had plans to run away somewhere.
Yeah, the bags. The dark passenger would actually tell me it was the end of my troubles. It told me crazy things like, if I ran away, the Transformers would find me. You know those big robots that go humanoid form? The passenger promised my life's transition into something like the Transformers Shia LaBeouf or Sam Witwicky. Instead, I got more of the actual Shia LaBeouf lifestyle.
You made it funny. But remember, you would have like little N64 game cartridges in there, high school trophies, decks of cards and DVDs and other random shit.
The passenger relayed to me that these items were special. It informed me that the N64 was the original.
What? Original like the NES? What? What do you mean? Or like the first N64 ever made?
Yeah, like the first N64 ever made.
Oh, okay. So you got the OG. Okay, you got the first edition. All right.
Mm-hmm. And Nintendo products were actually objects of historical significance. They were biographical games of real people in the animated world. The deck of cards held a doorway to the world of the Harlequins, or Joker Angels, aka Batman shit. I wonder why I never got to enter this doorway, possibly because I'm Robin or Jason Todd or something like that. The DVDs were movies or media that told stories that revolved around my life or other people in my life. And anything metal had something to do with the Holy Grail.
Honestly, whatever BS you just said, I just knew airport and bag. Low-key, when you weren't looking, I opened that bag up just to make sure you didn't have anything crazy like a knife in there or something that could get you in serious trouble at the airport.
Enough of these idiots babbling about my unmentionables. So, back to the car ride over. I glared out the window impatiently as we drove to the airport, attempting to keep the schizoid's hands occupied, clenching and unclenching my fist. I started seeing signs for the McNamara terminal and realized that it was almost showtime.
Yeah, to my surprise, he was quiet for the whole entire trip all the way up to DTW. And we pull up and then Moff goes,
I want to see you guys off.
in the back of my head, I'm just like, here we go. I just wanted him to stay in the car. There was absolutely no reason why he needed to get down. I knew something was going to end up happening. We're at the airport, so I'm already assuming the worst. Back then, his episodes didn't care if he had an audience of 1 or 50 people. It made no difference.
So, the car came to a stop as we parked for baggage unloading. I leapt into action, unfastened my seatbelt, and tried to open the door. These idiots locked it. Damn, a wrench thrown right into my plans. So they all exit the car and open the trunk, and I managed to unlock the door and jump out. Backpack on my back and dart towards the airport entrance.
Once again, he had a bag and bolted into the airport. I didn't have much time to react, but I ran faster than I've ever ran in my life. Ran to the door, ran into the airport, and put you in a chokehold. And I dragged you out of the airport.
Man, I'm surprised they didn't try and arrest you.
Whatever, man, but...
Well, at this point, I'm screaming, let me go, help.
So at this point, in his ear, I'm like, why are you yelling help? You see all these people staring at us? Somehow, I ended up dragging him into the car. Guys, this was not easy. Even back then, I think you had maybe about 20 to 30 pounds and you were about 2 inches taller than me. But somehow I got you back into the car and I told my dad to book it. We got all these people watching us. We got security. We got airport security watching us. And luckily nobody followed us. So he booked it and then we ended up in... I guess I got you into that car off of sheer adrenaline. And just the vision of seeing you get shot in the airport was the only thing running through my mind. That's how I had enough strength to get you into the car magically. And so when we get in the car, I told my dad to book it. Luckily, airport security or nobody else followed us, and we make it to a parking lot that's adjacent, just outside of the terminal. And meanwhile, I had left my mom there at the gate just to figure out which terminal we needed to go to, and I'm sure she was shitting bricks at this point. When my dad was driving, we pull into the parking lot. All I was thinking about at this point was to get you as far away from the airport as possible. And through this whole car ride, I still have you in a chokehold, and you fighting me the whole time. So we get to an adjacent lot at DTW, and I think it was called the Green Lot. And I told my dad, please just get him home. I'll take a shuttle back to the airport. Just get him home safe, please. So I told him just start driving. So as soon as I get out, just start driving. So I close the door, and then this fool jumps out the car again.
I guess I can laugh about this shit now.
Bro, that whole situation was not funny at all.
Yeah, then I think I ran into a couple other parking lots frantically. And I think the police must have seen me running or something, because next thing I know, I'm in an airport parking lot and have 6 squad cars circling me.
Once again, your life flashed before my eyes. I honestly thought this was it, and this situation was going to end up on national news or something. No joke. This is literally going through my mind this whole time. And I'm just sitting there trying the best I can do to try to de-escalate the situation myself. So I'm sitting there telling all the officers that you're having a mental breakdown and that this is completely uncharacteristic behavior. And then something very surprising happens. The main officer was extremely calm. He assured me that everything was going to be okay and told me that they've had highly specific training catered towards dealing with events exactly like this. And when they went to you, they talked to you in an extremely calm and collected manner and somehow ended up completely de-escalating the situation. This is a far cry from your first interaction with the police where you were taken away in handcuffs and sent to juvie. To this day, that was the best interaction we've had with any kind of law enforcement ever. It's crazy how much of a difference that de-escalation training actually made.
Before the boys in blue showed up, I was thinking, let's see how much attention we can get from this little stunt. There was no escape in sight, as the police eventually ended up grabbing me. They had already talked to the schizoid's family, so they assumed that the schizoid was mentally ill. Well enough, as long as my reign of terror could later resume unabated, they allowed the schizoid to leave without a hospital trip. But I had more in store for him. His brother and mother went on their merry way to Nigeria.
Somehow they calmed me down enough that I was able to get into the car with my dad, and he took me home.
Yeah, so I ended up catching the shuttle back to the airport, and somehow I magically made my flight. I think it was solely because we got to the airport like 3 or 4 hours early, and I was definitely not trying to be out $3,500 for 2 airplane tickets.
You know what? I don't think I ever told you guys about what happened after that situation while you guys were gone.
Yeah, bro, I was on vacation and I had already done my job of literally keeping you alive. So I had no interest in asking my dad any follow-up questions on what happened while we were gone in Nigeria.
Well, let me tell you, my dad, already flustered and upset, resolved that we needed to talk after this situation. He questioned if I could stay out of trouble while at home and asked if I needed supervision. I promised him I would be fine without his guidance. My younger sister had gone to stay with our cousin while my mother was away. A few days passed and the passenger still had some juice for mayhem. My father was away at work. Those days he worked from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I was left at home alone while my family was away. One day the passenger decided to take me on a little adventure.
Get your wallet and your keys. We're going for a walk.
A walk to where?
The dollar store.
I walk to the dollar store and see a taxi cab in the parking lot.
Get in the cab and ask to go to the airport. Our business isn't finished there.
I open the cab door and jump into the back seat. I say, "Take me to the airport, please." "Hey, you got cab fare?"
Say yes and tell him you will pay him after the ride.
I say what the passenger tells me to say. "I need it up front."
Don't say anything. Just knock on the cab glass.
"Get out of my cab."
Get out of the cab. If we can't fly, we might as well take flight away from home.
Thus, the passenger drags me across the city of Detroit without telling me my end goal. I start off running toward the University of Detroit Mercy, 4 miles away. It then tells me to run in the opposite direction of my home, and I end up at a gas station somewhere else in the city.
You have to piss, right?
Yeah, why do you ask?
Go into the gas station, buy a Snapple, and either drink it or pour it out.
I drink it and say, "Now what?"
Stand by the side of the road with your back facing the road
I look around and check for anyone watching. I see no one and proceed to do the deed. Back turned to the road, I unzip my pants and urinate into the bottle. I hear a siren behind me. An officer on a motorcycle pulls up behind me.
ID, please. Hey, can I see some ID?
I reach into my pocket and pull out my wallet. I pull it out and open it awkwardly in hopes that he will see my university ID also. He doesn't seem to care as I hand him my driver's license. He looks over my license.
Hey, you can't be exposing yourself like this out in public. You're too young for all that shit. I'm gonna let you off with a warning. Next time, you might not be so lucky. Here's your ID. Go home and do better.
He hands me my ID and takes off on his motorcycle.
Go back in the direction of your house and loiter around. Let's see. Yes, yeah, go loiter around the University of Detroit Mercy.
I stroll onto the campus and the passenger commands me again.
Hey, see if you can sneak into the dorm buildings without a key.
I wander around the campus following random people here and there. I make it inside a dorm and the passenger then tells me to wander into the engineering building. I trek into the engineering building and ask the passenger what's next. Thankfully, it allows me to return home without any further hindrances or disturbances.
Return home.
All in all, I probably walked about 12 miles that day.
Damn, 12 miles?
Yeah. But that wasn't the end of it. I returned home and the passenger had more in store for me. It instructed me to lie down on the floor in my room and wait for my father to return. I heard his car pull into the driveway and then the car door opened.
Spread your arms like you're Superman and pretend to fly while you lay down.
Marv, are you okay?
I stretch my arms and say nothing. I hear the door open and my father speaks to me.
Your uncle is here also.
Don't you dare. Get up and go take a shower. Walk into the shower with your eyes closed. No towel. In the nude. Keep your eyes closed.
I struggle to keep my eyes closed while I waltz into my room and take off my clothes. I walk through the hallway naked into the bathroom.
Go put some clothes on.
I ignored him and I stumbled quite a few times as I had not correctly memorized the easy pathway to the bathroom. I tripped at least twice with my eyes closed and finally managed to get in the shower. My dad continued to yell as I turned on the shower. He then ventured in pulling me out of the shower because he believed I was in no condition to be alone. I probably wasn't. A few hours passed, my uncle left, and the passenger allowed me to tell my father a lie instead of the truth about me prancing around Detroit.
Wait, just to make it clear, so when he came back, this was after he had gone to work, right? So he had come back to find you at the house, to find an empty house, and he was already freaking out. That's why he called his brother or something to come over.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Just wanted to clear that up.
Tell him. Oh, so he wants to know why. Give him an excuse. Yes, you should tell him your friend, let's say, yes, tell him your friend from Michigan State picked you up so that you guys could hang out.
I told him this, and he asked if I had done any drugs. I told him no, and off to bed I went.
Truthfully, current day, at the moment, I fear at the odds of actually defeating the schizoid. His therapies and medicines certainly take quite a toll on my efforts. I'm constantly under attack from the opposition. They want the passenger's complete surrender, and unfortunately for me, their endeavors are having a considerably strong effect. Regardless, the following lyrics unease the schizoid. just a city voice. Born and raised in South Detroit. He took a midnight dream going straight to hell. I love messing with his music because it ransoms his best weapons against me. A bit of a distraction from his loathsome existence. It all depends on whether he or I lose resolve first.
And in this season finale, a moment of reflection.
Over the course of our journey, I like to think that I've grown some. I've tried my hand with many coping mechanisms and found luck with some and misfortune with others. Negotiation helps, but does not always work. Keeping a routine can be beneficial to some extent, and on the other hand, detrimental in the same respect. Just keeping a routine can cause fatigue and unhealthy boredom with life. A routine can also foster some sense of comfort in coping, by knowing one can surmount their everyday trials and tribulations. Music often serves as a stronghold against the voices, but reading too deeply in the lyrics may cause turmoil. Relationships certainly remain possible, yet require a great deal of effort. This entails both romantic and platonic relations. Either way, pursue these only if they offer a sense of fulfillment that complements your lifestyle. No matter what you do, build on your support side schizonomics. Any figure that you can add to your roster of people in your corner is a positive. Going at it alone never feels right, and no matter how bad your condition gets, know that if no one else is there for you, I am. Talk about everything. I don't care if it's about your bathroom habits. Get it out there and in the open. Medications are not a surefire deterrent. They are meant to supplement healthy consultation and positive habits. Pick up hobbies and find outlets for expression. Mentally bound people flourish with creativity. If possible, read up on current treatment methods and medicines, and perhaps talk about options with your psychiatrist. Remember to read and hear about positive stories of others. It can be comfort to hear about people who made their illness work for them. If there is one thing I would want every mentally bound person to know, it is that you have and are a being, and in this being remains an immense wealth of strength and virility. You are stronger than your illness because you were there before it surfaced, and you will be there after it subsides. Fight, fight, fight. I may be being highly optimistic, but realistically, the odds are in your favor. I know it can get rough, but no matter what, don't give up. Hang on to and nourish any hope you have. Finally, if I were going to tell my past self anything, it would be, it gets better. Mental illness is not the end of it.
21st century schizoid.
Yeah.